Good day, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of Unleash with FTEM. Unleash with From the Expert's Mouth. And today we bring to you a very special episode that will help you see things clearly. Putting things in perspective with us is Dr. Sharad Lakhotia, a renowned eye surgeon who has numerous credits to his name, including being the president of the Delhi Ophthalmological Society that comprises 11,000 eye surgeons all over India and all the eye surgeons of the Delhi NCR region. He has been the vice president of Delhi Medical Association and a renowned national and international faculty during his practice of over 37 years. During this period, he's done over 50,000 cataract operations and been associated with numerous social causes, leading him to win several awards such as the Top 10 Doctors of India by Medcay and the Human Care Award of the Millennium. So, welcome Dr. Sharad Lakhotia to the show. And as we always do, let us start from the very beginning. Please tell us what got you into the medical sciences in the first place.
Well, when I entered medical science, that is MBBS course, I wasn't aware what I'm going to be, except that I was derived mainly by my mom, who wanted me to be a doctor so that I can treat her. And that's how accidentally I entered into medical science, though my father had been a very prominent lawyer.
Right. So that's wonderful. So I guess you were driven by the desire to serve society and in particular the family. So tell us a little bit more about it. What were really the drivers? Because nobody in the family was into this profession, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the awareness was not so much. Even I didn't know the full form of MBBS even at that time. But it was only the family which molded me to be a doctor, and I could hardly understand how I'm going to behave. But as we were advancing, and as I was gaining more and more knowledge, things became clearer to me, and then I started taking decisions. And I became ophthalmologist after this, so that that also by some of our friends who were, one of our close family friends was an eye surgeon who used to conduct a lot of eye camps, and he also wanted me that I should join medical profession in the stream of ophthalmology. So I ultimately chosen the ophthalmology part. And once I chose that I should be an ophthalmologist, then I realized the type of people, the kind of blindness that was prevalent in the society, and the society needed a lot of work. And that time, there were a lot of NGOs, social organizations who were conducting free eye camps. And I used to attend those camps on Sundays because even during my master's degree or after I finished my MBBS, and during that course, I attended lot many camps where I did surgery from morning 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the night. Performed surgeries on in camps to with a bigger aim of eradicating blindness.
Right. And I would imagine that it's not very easy in a profession such as whether you're a doctor or whether you're a lawyer to get into it if there is no family history or legacy, because particularly in these two professions, we've seen the lineage kind of continue. So, as a youngster with nobody in the family in this profession, did you face any additional challenges? And, more importantly, from the perspective of our audience, there are so many of us who want to get into a particular profession but do not have immediate guidance or examples in the family. So what would you say to them reflecting back on your early experiences?
I would say that today awareness is much higher because at my time there were only fixed streams like to be a doctor. That was the number one priority. They were considered they are the best in the society. Then was the engineering, then there was commerce. In fact, commerce was the last of the choice, and there was a law. And there were hardly any other specialties that people could think of. But today, uh, the children, the 11th and 12th class children are very well educated. They are very specific. They know where they can niche a career in their life, where they can, they have the passion and they like to do a particular kind of work. And there is a great choice. In fact, they have to put in more hard work, and they can get that passion, achieved. So today, I think there is more scientific basis of choosing a career depending on your passion, choice, your family history, where you think that you can be a very, very successful. Unfortunately, today you would see that majority of the successful doctors' children are not taking medical science, because there is a possibility that perhaps these children can do better in other streams, particularly given the choice. They have so much to do, and maybe because they may not be very convinced looking at the lifestyle of their parents.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of lifestyle, both as a doctor as well as a student preparing to even get into the medical sciences or studying through it, I would imagine that it's a pretty hard path to tread on, because for one, it's very difficult, so you need a lot of hard work, and number two, I think it takes a lot of time to complete your education in the medical sciences. So, how many years did you study, and how hard did you have to work towards it?
I had to unfortunately study. I was throughout. I never stopped anywhere. I was a university topper throughout. But since
Okay.
my initial education was in Calcutta, I lost around 1.5 years because of Naxalite movements. And then I did my masters from EMU Aligarh, where I was a university topper and a gold medalist. So all throughout, I was the scholarship holder. I didn't pay a single penny after my class 11. All my education, uh, and that was a beautiful journey. But I would say that considering the amount of energy that you put in, the results may not be that astounding. For the
Mhm.
simple reason today, the children are very, very focused on what amount of effort they put in and what are the results. And fortunately today, there are big pay packages, there are excellent opportunities in India and abroad. There are courses which are specially designed both in India and abroad, where you can niche a beautiful career, you can have a wonderful uh, time, because depending on your family resources, you can choose whether you can pay that amount or you otherwise can get loan and you can pursue your career if you are good at it. So you know very well that if you have the capability, you can reach wherever you like, and you don't have to go through a tortuous route. You can always choose a route which is fast, which is delivering best, which is giving best mileage in terms of your pay package, in terms of your satisfaction, in terms of your passion.
Right.
So the
Yeah.
choices are better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are a lot many more choices, as you mentioned, far more than the six conventional streams that used to exist in those days. And I'm sure as a result of that, a lot more hard work had to be done in those days, and the output or the outcome to effort ratio was not as high as you probably would find today. So, speaking about career options and the way you went about, building your career in this profession, I'm sure there would have been choices in front of you in terms of whether to set up your own practice or whether to work for somebody else to gain experience. But as I understand, you started your own practice from the very beginning and did not work too much for any other hospital chains or other employers in the conventional sense. So, what was your thinking around that? And looking back, how has it panned out for you?
See, when I started, there was a big change in the field of ophthalmology. There was absolutely somersault in ophthalmology. At that time, we were using, while I was trained for masters, we were doing intracapsular cataract surgery, which is now outdated. It's no more done. We were the first group of eye surgeons to introduce intraocular implant for the first time in India. So while I was a student, I was also a faculty teacher, teaching my professors and teachers about the modern, newer developments in ophthalmology. There was
Okay.
totally changed. There were no hospital where I could get training. I had to train myself. few centers, international centers which I visited, they were also doing, but they were contemporary. So we could exchange and we could see what are the futures. There was nothing defined that this is going to be the route of or the way the new science of cataract surgery will be uh, evolved. So we were all in the transition phase. We used to discuss, and whatever we discussed during that time, that has become the textbook, and all the advances they came after we were there in the science. That means we contributed to the development. At that time, my only aim was that I should ensure, because we Indians are working so hard, we should be able to have a world class setup in ophthalmology. We should be able to give world class results. That was my main aim. I used to encourage my dear friends, colleagues to go for technology, higher technology, and to adapt to microscopic surgery, which was introduced for the first time in conferences. I used to say that this is going to be the future mode of work, and all those things we encourage. And fortunately, today I find myself that we are at the top of the world. The Indian ophthalmologists are considered the best in the world, and everywhere in any international conference, you will find among the top three lecturers or the faculty people, they are two of them may be Indians, or at least one of them is always an Indian. So that is the advancement that we have come. Unfortunately, at my time, there was not a single hospital which was offering all the modern surgeries, and we could do it. So I had to save my money, buy equipment, learn the new procedure, try to do it, put papers in the conferences. People would hear, and we will analyze, and everything, all experience like phacoemulsification was new to begin with, and we started with the phaco. I introduced for the first time phaco surgery in many states of India, including Jammu and Kashmir. So like this, there were a lot of challenges, and the newer surgery evolving, and people are seeing skeptically also whether this surgery is going to be good or not. There are a lot of old surgeons who would not promote this new surgery. They say that we do not know whether an external thing can remain in the eye or not. A lot of these things were there. So we passed through all those stages. So I had at my time no choice. I had to start. And once I started with my own practice, then I continued. Then I had an offer from big hospitals, which ultimately formed and they made a chain. I joined Apollo Hospital, Max Hospital, and other corporate, but I never became a full time because I thought that I would like to be driven by my own passion and my own working. I would not like to be totally involved in a commercial proposition. And that was the reason I thought that whatever work I am able to do, it's okay. But
Right.
presently, I would say that since so much facilities are available and the setups, you don't have to actually struggle too much to get a setup. You can start in a big hospital and you can start working, and there are a lot of options and opportunities available. So there is a big difference. Big difference. At that time, if you joined a government hospital, hardly they would be working. They were working on old systems and the technology, absolutely outdated technology. Today, this is a change in the world today in India. Or India, all government, even government hospitals are using the world's best technology and giving results compared to internationally best cases that
Right.
can be done.
Right.
So today you can't say that these setups almost is flourishing. The success in ophthalmology is tremendous, and you have got even an ordinary person have access to world class facilities at a very affordable rate. So that is the advancement I am seeing, and I am happy that I have been a part of that journey for the entire country, whatever be my contribution. But I am very happy uh, that we have been able to bring ophthalmology to that level from where we started.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome, and it's I'm sure been a very heartening journey. And if we look at the world as we perceive it today, I think one of the big themes that keeps coming up in discussions is the pace of change that is happening, and that narrative kind of obscures the changes that have happened in the past and seems to indicate that change is only happening right now. And everything was the world was in a state of constancy over all these years, but as you explained, that is certainly not the case. And even in those days, I mean, since time immemorial, I guess, there have been changes, disruptive changes, transforming completely the landscape of the domain or field that you are associated with. And if I were to take, one thread out of what you mentioned, and that can be used as, a learning or a principle or a mental model, is the fact that, whatever field or domain you are getting into, try and be associated with what is cutting edge, try and get associated with whatever is the future, instead of, getting stuck in the comfort zone, or just aping and doing what everybody else around you is doing. Rather, look towards the future and build your career, or make your career choices in consonance with what the future holds for you or for your domain. I think that is a timeless lesson which was relevant 37 years ago and is as much relevant today as it was then.
Yes, it is. It has been a wonderful way of seeing things how they happen, and we have to accept everything. Only thing is now that newer challenges are coming because the practice pattern, what we observed at that time, was very simple. That you keep doing good work and keep improving your work. That was the basic thing. Today, when you are seeing that practicing model has totally changed, it's now on a different corporate level wavelength that you have to either establish your own practice or you join a big group or a big organization.
Right.
So now it's more driven by, you can say, marketing and other things, and you have to have a lot of expenses because equipments are very expensive now, and to get you can say, to ensure that you get a good return, you have to do a lot of other things besides the learning of the skill.
Right.
Today, fortunately, skill development has been done at a very big pace, tremendous pace. And we can say today there are thousands of eye surgeons in the country who are doing world class, who are giving world class results. So this is possible because there is a continuous, learning, and we are having regular conferences, CME organization upgrading the skill of everybody. And even in a big setup, when you join any setup you join with all equipments and all, you can immediately, understand the technology and you start giving good results. So today, the good thing is that you can give good results, but to establish yourself in practice, you have to have a lot of other things besides the skill. The skill is just a lower, you can say, a lower percentage partner. The higher thing is how you have footfall in your setup, how you do marketing, how is your business trends, where you are located, how beautifully you are made. Now you are seeing all medical setups as a five-star organization, and the working and how is the customer patient satisfaction, how you deal with the patient. A lot of things have come in practice now. So the model has totally changed. It has, at one end, it has given beautiful future to those who want to make big money out of profession. At the same time, for many skilled surgeons, they may not find a very, you can say, comfortable job where they can pursue their skill and they don't have that marketing pressure. So they can just work independently. So there are challenges both in terms of your upgrading your skill and reaching to higher levels, or you may be left out if you don't follow the market trends.
Right.
So both are acceptable. That's happening everywhere, I think, the society today.
Right. No, absolutely. And I think when it comes to professions such as being a doctor or being a lawyer, it is not just about pursuing a business, because these professions have their own charter, they have their own responsibility towards the society. And I think while the educational system, whether you're going through medical sciences or whether you're pursuing legal studies, it impresses upon you the fact that you have a certain duty and devotion to the society, to your patients, or to your clients. And I think in the middle of all that, a lot of idealistic professionals kind of ignore the commercial aspects of it. And on the other hand, of course, you have those who put the commerciality at the center stage, and the profession or its responsibilities take a backseat. So you've had a very interesting career where you've done a lot of these things which are at the cutting edge of technology, transformed the landscape, done research at, and spoken at international conferences. And on the other hand, you've also been associated with numerous social causes, as you were mentioning, the problem of blindness, cataracts all over the nation. And of course, these things do not respect any boundaries of economics or socio-economics. They afflict each and every one. So, how have you been able to balance these two aspects of the commercial pragmatism and the social causes?
I was not very much concerned about the commercial aspects. I knew that if I keep working, I will get whatever my, because my requirements are very minimal. I didn't want to make a big institution or a big kind of money making proposition. A lot of my friends whom I advised, they made big setups and all, because there's a different working. I always went by my passion and my spiritual quotient, because is uh, what you think is right, what you think is good, what satisfies you is what is ultimately good for you. This is the way one has to lead. You don't have to see what others are doing and what should be done. I won't say that they are wrong or right. You should pursue what you think is right. And I pursued my way. And when you are good, you are skillful, you are in the right track, and you do what you think is right, you are always a successful person. Successful person is one who is not compromising on his principle and his skill. So that is my definition. So otherwise, it is a very interesting journey. But today, of course, I would definitely say to people that don't start your setup, because making a small setup today has uh, a lot of difficulties and it's not possible to maintain. It's better to either join, the ophthalmologist should join together and form a group and start a group practice, or they should join a bigger hospital where they can pursue. And I think it's possible that they can have a very balanced view where they can upgrade their skill also, and they can do good professional work. So it's possible. But at the same time, the avenues are there where you can pursue your individual interest. But ophthalmology today is a big bonanza because it is a big business proposition all over the world.
Right. Yeah, we'll come to that in a second, but again, just to kind of juxtapose whatever you mentioned to other professions, which may be similar in their nature. So we could be talking about professions such as doctors, lawyers, chartered accountants, and these days, of course, a lot of professions encourage freelancing. So so many professions on the creative side. I think these principles kind of apply to so many of these professions, or even generally to careers and how one goes about thinking, particularly because we are caught up with this term called FOMO, or fear of missing out. And just because somebody else is working in a fancier environment, a five-star hospital, so to speak, or a similar thing in a corporate context, people tend to feel that they are missing out by not being associated with those. But I think the important lesson that you mentioned from your thinking is, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to pursue? Because success is only and only relevant from your eyes. It's not, it does not matter so much what the world is thinking about you, but rather that you are doing what you enjoy doing and feeling fulfilled out of it.
Absolutely. That is the way it should be done. Because today the world is very open and you can absolutely, decide what you want to do. If you are good in any stream, anywhere, you can have a very wonderful career. But at the same time, I would say that today in medical science, I have a very personal view, which I have communicated to even Narendra Modi ji, even Prime Minister, who was my patient also earlier,
Okay.
that healthcare has to be affordable by majority. See, we are having a lot of advancement in medical science, but it is no use if it cannot reach to masses. If
Right.
it is reaching, all these facilities are even to less than 1% of the population, I won't call it a great going for the country. So to make it affordable, there has to be some system which has to be evolved whereby the medical expenses are not pinching to average patient. Instead of telling people to be honest and all, there are two ways of looking. Even the big corporate hospital have to spend a lot of money and they have to generate a lot of money to sustain and to be profitable. So
Right.
I won't be pointing finger at any particular person, but we should evolve a system whereby a common man can have access to world-class facility at a very affordable rate, affordable charge. That means I would say that by spending around 10% of his monthly income to 100% of his monthly income, he should get the most expensive treatment which is available for his ailment, for his family ailment. That is the way I say is called affordable. Not that he has to sell off his house, he has to go around on streets. The family is shattered because of one big expense in the family on medical issues. These kind of stories, they don't impress me. So I would definitely like to work with even the Prime Minister. I have written letters to him that the advancements in healthcare, they have to be made affordable. And it is very simple. It's a huge country. If we organize it properly, they can be drastically reduced. But there are a lot of things to be done. Even for the doctors, a lot of things are to be done by the government. They should recognize, they should appreciate the doctors. They should not put doctors into frivolous negligence cases. That's why people require a lot of money, and they are all, everybody is running for money these days. So the whole system has to change. It has to be clean. There has to be balance so that the doctors don't have to charge too much. The, the, the facilities are available at affordable rates, and the corporate setup, which are investing so much money in their organization, they get a government help or whatever so that they can make a reasonable profit. I won't say that don't make profit. They have to make, everybody has to make profit and good earnings to have a decent lifestyle. But at the same time, a good combination will make the whole thing most affordable to majority people of the country. That is possible.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I would be very intrigued to know if there are any special memories associated with your special patient, our Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi.
Modi ji, yes, Modi ji visited me earlier, and then we talked about that time when he came for the first time. He was not appearing on television. I told him just you should be there on the TV so that you start speaking, and he was very happy to hear. He said, "Okay, Dr. Lakhotia, why don't you come in politics?" I said, "If I come in politics, who will do I work?" So he said, "Yes, yeah, yeah, it's good. You carry on with your profession only." And then he started appearing in TV, and 6 months' time, he became Chief Minister of Gujarat. And after that, everybody knows the story that how fast he has been advancing.
Right, right. Yeah, wonderful. So coming back to the point that you were mentioning, I think we sometimes get caught up in blaming a certain segment of society or our ecosystem, such as corporate hospitals in this case. I think they are the favorite, bashing boys of the public at large because there's a lot of public angst. These guys are investing money, and of course they expect returns. And at the same time, society, of course, has huge needs, but I guess what you're saying is that everybody needs to coexist. They are these big corporate hospitals, the kind of investments that they bring, the kind of ecosystem they create, they cater to a particular segment of the society, whereas we need to create other solutions either along with them or outside of them that can cater to maybe the remaining 90-95% of the country's population. So each to their own, and let everybody coexist, and we can have a balance, and people are free to choose the paths that they want to choose. Dr. Lakhotia, thank you so much for helping all of us see the world in a very different light, and not just physically but also metaphorically. One parting piece of advice, if you want to give to people who are entering this profession or any other profession for that matter, how should they think about shaping their careers, shaping their lives, and becoming successful, or even, as you mentioned, defining your own metric or method of measuring one's own success?
See, the most important thing is in life, if you are successful, it depends on people need you or you need people. That means you develop into a personality or into a workforce by which you are useful to a majority of the society. You can cater to society, and in return, you will get enough to require to meet your requirements. So the important thing is you, whatever line, even if it is an ophthalmology in medical science, or you become engineer, or you try to develop skill to the best of your potential. If you can use your potential which God has imparted on you to the maximum, you are already in that record, success
Right.
group. You are already a successful person. The idea of the entire life is that I should be able to use my faculty, my talent to the best. That is it. And I should be useful to the society.
Right. Yeah, that's a wonderful thought. And as we keep speaking to more and more entrepreneurs, and we speak about it in the business context, of which there are many episodes on Unleash with FTM, you'll find one common thread. Most of the successful entrepreneurs are talking about solving the needs of the customers, solving the problems of the customers, rather than focusing on their, how to grow my business, how to get funding, how to be successful. If you apply this concept not just at the business level, but at a society level, at an individual level, who's part of the overall, society and ecosystem, then what you realize is that it is not just about solving the problems of your customers, of your business, but it is about being of value to others in society. So essentially, it's the same concept, kind of extrapolated from the business world into society and the world at large. And that is what can get you success beyond anything else. I think everything else follows, whether it is the material needs you have, the spiritual needs you have, the relationship needs you have, the happiness that you desire, because ultimately success is only a pathway to happiness. And if you're getting happiness directly, then why take the longer route of following what everybody else is doing and just figure out your own path?
Thank you, Rajiv, for a wonderful conversation. And it's a privilege to speak on such a popular and such a interesting and such a brilliant webinar with you and on your channel. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure these precious insights will be of a lot of use to a very wide variety of professionals, of students, of the youth, and to society in general. The links to the other episodes of Unleash with FTM will be provided in the description and the comments. We'll also be putting up a post shortly, which will have the key elements which we will cull out from this conversation and publish it on our website from theexpertsmouth.com. You'll find all the links down below. And before you leave, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and do leave your comments behind on what is it that you took away from this conversation. If there are any more questions that you have, particularly around the medical space, do feed those comments in. We'll see if we can get answers from Dr. Lakhotia for you, or arrange for follow-up conversations. So with that, thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Lakhotia, and see you in the next episode.